Hello and welcome to another video. Today I want to talk about my lifetime earnings ever since I had my first job all the way up to 2018. How I got this information is I logged into Social Security website and just basically got the statement there and then put it in a spreadsheet. And I also added my debt over the years as best I could. So let's go ahead and take a look at the spreadsheet here. 18 years old, I was still in high school, so went to work at night. In addition to that, I also worked on the weekends, made $4.25 an hour. I'm not gonna divulge which fast food place it was, but
Burger King.
Anyways, as you can see here, year one, 18 years old, 1993, and my earnings was $714 for that particular year. Degree, high school, if you want to call it that. Moving along here, basically worked at that particular place for about a year and a half, I believe. Once I graduated high school, I immediately got a different job, which I stayed at for up to 6 years, 5 to 6 years. I was a technician, and I was actually working part piecework, and then later on in that particular job I changed to hourly. Maybe around 1998 I went ahead and decided to go to school at night, so that's where I started incurring some debt here. Around year 2000 I completed my associate's degree in electronics. In 2000 I decided to go back to school and get another associate's degree in computer networking. At that point I had switched jobs because the job that I was working at, I asked them, hey, do you have any positions for me in computers? And they were like, no. So at a job that I stayed at for 6 years, I literally gave them a couple of days notice that I was leaving, and I left. And then that was right around the dot-com bubble, so there was a lot of hiring going on. I got hired at I think HP. So I was a support engineer at HP, supporting ISDN and dial-up customers at that time. I stayed there for a couple of years and decided to go to the military. So I went in the Air Force in 2001. I joined the Air Force in 2001 and actually didn't go to active duty until 2002. At that point I decided to go back to school and work on my bachelor's degree at nighttime, and it always seems to be at night. But as you can see here, from 2002 to 2004 I was active duty, and I got out early of active duty, and at that time they were offering what was called Palace Chase at the time, to get out of active duty and to finish your time in the reserves, because I was in an overmanned career field. So I decided to do that, and here in 2004 I got out of active duty. Did not have my bachelor's completed yet, but I got my first job out of the military making $65,000 a year at a data center in California. It was continue on with my bachelor's degree at that time at nighttime while I was working full-time at nighttime, while also doing the reserves on the weekend. So in 2006 I completed my bachelor's degree, also moved out of California to a different state, and they slightly lowered my pay. I stayed with the same company. 2007 I switched jobs again and got a pretty substantial pay raise, and also found out that particular company would pay for my master's. So I went ahead and enrolled in a master's program and went to school at nighttime again. I completed that master's in 2009, and I had all but one class paid for by that company because I left that company within a year of completing the master's. So basically it was almost that, I completed that master's and only had to pay, a couple $1,000s if that. But as you can see here, the debt going up, and that is all student loans, with the exception of 2006 when I bought a sports car, and I will show you a link of the sports car. So I had an issue. I had, I had sports car issues and, you know, living within my means issues going on here. But I'm going to talk about that in another video. So at this time my school loans are deferred, so I'm not really paying anything on at this time. But I did consolidate the loans down to 3.75% for the life of the loan. So I really didn't have much desire to pay them off. You know, 3.75% was not very high. Felt like I could get better gains in other places. So it wasn't a huge priority to pay them off. 2010, I went ahead and got rid of 2 cars and kept 1 car. Still had a loan on it, about $17,000. Still had roughly $25,000 in student loans at that time. It wasn't until 2010 when I moved to a different state, got a different job, making more money, and of course it was, you know, higher cost of living area as well, but you know, it also propelled my career, so sometimes you have to make those sacrifices. In 2011, I decided to go out of the country and work overseas for 2 years, and they paid me very well, not to mention it is also up to about $100,000 tax-free at the time. I pretty much banked all that money. I paid off a second mortgage on a rental property I had at the time. I also paid off my car loan at that time, so you can see the deduction in debt here. It wasn't until 2013 when I came back and, you know, into the States, and basically, as you can see here, the earnings kind of just flatten out and remain the same for the remainder of my career so far. But at the same time, in 2017, I decided to pay off my student loans. It was time to finally get rid of that debt. I figured it wouldn't affect my net worth, so why not, right? I had the cash laying around, so I went ahead and just paid them off, and then I got rid of all my debt. And I can tell you, that's a good feeling. So what this highlighted field is here from 2010 to 2017, in those 7 years I became a millionaire. So from 2010 I got, you know, had quite a bit of debt. I reduced that debt, worked really hard, saved a lot of income, invested, I wouldn't say wisely, but I invested in, it was a bull market, right? So I did pretty well for myself. The 2 rental properties I had also increased in value, and in 2017 I officially crossed the $1 million net worth. I'm gonna have another video out that's gonna talk about the things that I followed. You know, it wasn't anything specific, it was just the things that I did to accumulate that wealth, and I will have that video out hopefully soon. But I do encourage everybody to log in to the Social Security website. If you have earned income, you will have, you know, a certain amount of income per year that you get points for. Those points add up, and eventually when you're 65 or 67 years old, if you're lucky, Social Security will still be around and they haven't raised the age to 80 by that point, and you will get some income from that. So go ahead and log into the website, look at your statements, make sure that they have earnings for every single year that you worked. I have seen where somebody had a 0 for one of the years, so make sure you keep your W-2s and your tax information available. It's a lot easier nowadays. You don't have to carry paper around, so you can just keep a digital copy of it. So, but keep that information. That way you can show that you actually had earnings that year if there was a mistake for whatever reason. So I will go ahead and put the Social Security link in the description below. If you don't trust that that's the true link, then certainly just do Google Social Security login information. So at this point, did the degrees make a difference? Yes, they did. In my particular career field, it's not absolutely necessary to have a degree. I'm in a computer engineering career field, but it does help increase your earnings potential. So I encourage everybody to go to school if you're in a career field that could benefit from that. So if you like this video, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. If you like this content as well, go ahead and subscribe. I have a lot more videos planned out, and we will go ahead and see you in the next video.